Thousand lives ago, thousand lives ago, thousand lives ago, we were young and we didn't know we would bar our soul, bar our soul. Made the sacrifice, headed back to the light, but we thousand lives ago, thousand lives ago, thousand lives ago, we were young and we didn't know we would bar our soul, bar our soul. Made the sacrifice, headed back to the light, but we thousand lives ago, thousand lives ago, thousand lives ago, we were young and we didn't know we would bar our soul, bar our soul. Made the sacrifice, headed back to the light, but we
Okay, this for this okay, whatever, guys. Okay, I'm just gonna touch on these kind of things, yeah. So we were basically talking about what an ancient computer is and what ancient technology is, because we've just explored it with that illustration. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna start to show you um, how all this stuff comes together, because we have to tie these loose ends so people can kind of comprehend this on a higher level. So okay, let's start with this. Okay, what we're getting into right now, this is called the melanin technology, which is 500 billion to a trillion ancient melanin technology. That's how advanced this stuff is going to be, and that's exactly how advanced this technology we're getting into is. Okay, and I'm going to give you different powerpoints, and we're going to get into how to basically, this is how to interface with this technology, and how to use this technology, and how to um, access higher parts of your own brain. That's what it means. Okay. Okay.
Favorite one is this one here. That one there. Ganesh goes, he's the remover of obstacles.
So here we have a first illustration, and this is a very young person showing you this and teaching you this, which shows there is a difference between a people that are born in the West, and there was a difference between a people that come from other parts of the world, which have a much more, like, a deeper connection with their spirituality. And this is what's been displayed here, because this kid has been taught this from a young age, so he's very in tune and in touch with this. So what's really happening here is we have this is like a motherboard. Okay, the same way you have your computer, the same way you program different programs, okay, on your computer, this is the same thing. So what they do is they put these symbols that have stories and that have different layers and multi-dimensional understandings of things, okay, on here. So you see this table here. This table is an actual organic, I would say organic motherboard. Okay, because we're starting to deal with things like elements of earth, elements of air, fire, you know, and we start to get into things like galaxies and dimensions and stuff like that. In order for your brain to comprehend whatever your intentions are, you need to have a symbol, yeah, which is multi-dimensional, which has which allows you to access your emotional intelligence, okay. And when you do that, you have to take away this ignorance and ego that you have, in order for you to be able to bypass the 2D language that we learn. So you're thinking, you're thinking, if you read your Bible is like 2D, it's two-dimensional. The language we speak here is like two-dimensional. So in order for you to be able to make the subconscious brain understand what you want to experience, yeah, you have to use this, okay. You have to use symbols, okay. And these symbols is what your brain will start to interface with and bring a reality based on that. And this kid has told you that this thing represents if you have obstacles, okay. So if you had obstacles in life, and your intention was to counter that, you have to make a symbol like this. You see this thing, you have to make a symbol like this, and allow your brain, okay, to start buffering and accept your intention, which you have made within the ether, okay, and bring it to reality, because it's all simulation stuff, okay. That's what's going on here.
My favourite one is Hanuman. I've always really liked him because he's different to everyone. Well, first of all, he's a monkey.
So you see all the symbols they're getting into. So they're getting into, even because this one character here has a story, okay, and there's so many layers in this that in order for her brain to actually comprehend this, they have to have this imagery, yeah. And this imagery is what speaks to the subconscious brain and allows it to experience something on the level that the story of this character, yeah, is coming from. So you see how the levels are starting to be different. So in order for you to experience a different programming, okay, in like computer science, there are ones and zeros. You have to program, okay, using symbols, okay, in order for you to even see this page, okay. If you was to go behind this page, you will see a whole bunch of numbers, letters, and symbols and stuff. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. But these people, they live their life almost like this stuff is like real, but really and truly, these are just symbols that allows your brain to understand, to have like a higher understanding, and to even tune into the frequency, which will allow you to experience reality based on the frequency you're on, and based on the symbols that your DNA is actually interfacing with, okay. This is what's going on. This is some shit you niggas don't really understand this, because you don't really study, and you take things at face value. You don't really have like a deeper understanding, or you don't decipher things, and you don't really study, okay. That's what happens.
Second of all, there's a really good story around him, and every time anyone wants help, he would go and help them. Like, he's not there when for small things, but.
So you see now what's happening here. This is no different from going to watch a film, because what's happening is this person, just based on this imagery and the story that's written on this character, is allowing their brain to suspend their consciousness, suspend their reasoning, suspend their ignorance, and it's allowing this person to have an imagination. Okay, when you have an imagination, you're able to have an inventive mind, which allows you to create things. Okay, even realities, even worlds, even experiences, just based on just this one symbol here. You see this? Okay, and the stories is what takes you on the journey. Okay, imagination journeys, and this allows your heart to be open, because your heart is start to interface with this on different emotion, because your heart is an actual, it's an actual intelligence in itself, which has emotional intelligence. The same way your brain, your pineal glands, your oblongata, your different glands in the brain, and different parts of the reptilians, all these things, they govern parts of you. So there is mechanisms that's being used here, because remember they be telling you that people only use like 10% of their brains. So what happens when you start programming this, okay, with intention? Your intentions are buffered, yeah, sent into the universe, sent into the galaxies, and sent into um, the consciousness bank, which is one brain, which every single being can access, which is this brain is like 500 billion to a trillion years old, advanced though. Okay, so that means your brain can actually go and access these archives. Okay, just based on this. So this symbol here, what it does, okay, based on the frequency and your brain patterns, okay, it goes and it beams into the universe, and it goes into the conscious brain of all human beings, yeah, and it allows it to open different archives based on this, and beams back with a experience, okay, based on these teachings alone. You see this? I don't think you understand it, because some of you are a little bit slow, get into the elements. Okay, here's what's going on, niggas. This is what's really going on. Because we've been taken into the West, and because we've been far removed and far detached from this kind of knowledge, we haven't had the time to explore this, because we've been so attached and indoctrinated in this synthetic reality that we're living in, because this has been lost for a very long time, and I don't feel like people have this information. And if they do have it, I'm not sure if they comprehend what it actually means on this kind of level. Okay, so basically what happens is, yeah, your brain, okay, it doesn't understand me speaking this 2D language. This is a 2D dimensional language. Okay, if you to write this down, okay, you see this is a 2D language. Okay, so what that means is your brain has different parts. Okay, so the 2D brain, what it does, it only deals with things to do with reasoning and simple logic on a denser level. Okay, but if you was to access your soul, access your God brain, okay, you will be able to access higher dimensions of self. Okay, this shit is not religious at all. This shit is not spiritual at all. This is just straight up science. Okay, that's basically what's happening here. So the brain has the conscious brain, and we have the unconscious brain. We have the reptilian brain. We have the pineal gland. We have the oblongata, pituitary glands, and we have there's also different parts which, like on the side of your brain, those different parts, yeah, they interface with your environment on a higher level, and you're able to use, like, it's like a psychic sort of brain. But this stuff is not really spiritual though. This stuff is just a straight up science, guys. Okay, that's what's going on here. Okay, so in order for your brain to understand whatever intention or whatever program you're about to program, just like if it was a computer scientist, you'd be programming, different pages and stuff, and different websites or whatever, in order for you to even have this. Okay, So your brain, in order for it to understand your intentions or your programs, it only understand this on ele- uh, elemental level. Okay, so you gotta have elements which speak, okay, to your brain, and in order for that to happen, you gotta burn these elements. So you see these things like you got cinnamon and you got nutmeg. You got this is very strong. This is called saffron. This is called star anise. Anise. Okay, so these are some of the basic tools that you're gonna need in order for you to start interacting with this part of your brain. You're gonna need these elements. Okay, these are some of the basics, and these are some of the foundation elements that you need to program whatever intention you choose, and it's gonna buffer, and when it starts to buffer, you're gonna start to experience this. But the problem with this stuff is so advanced, guys. That means it reacts instantaneously, just based on what sort of frequency and brain patterns you're on. Really, that's what's going on with this stuff. Okay, more elements, guys. More elements. Let's explore this shit. Okay, so in Africa, yeah, it's what happens when you go over to Africa. You're gonna start to see, yeah, in different African spiritualities, they will have all of these symbols, all of these elements. Okay, so what this is an actual computer, guys. Okay, this is an actual, it's an organic computer system which allows you to use your emotional intelligence, which is in your heart. It allows you to use your reasoning, which is it's a low level intelligence, and allows you to use your subconscious brain and program it, and allows you to access your DNA and get through different archives, and you might even be able to tap into different astral realms as well. You might be able to even tap into memories of the past, even memories based on your DNA of your grandfather's father's father, or your grandmother, whatever being on this planet, or whatever conscious brain that's out there, which has all the archives of every single thing that's ever happened. Okay, you're able to access that, and this is what's going on here. So when you see Africans having this stuff, see they have a symbol of this. This is a mermaid. Okay, but they're not talking about mermaids, guys. What they're talking about is that an understanding of this symbol is what they're interacting with. Okay, it's all about interfacing. That's where this shit is going. This is a computer system. This is not this is not just a table with stuff on it. This is an actual computer system. And if we was to even use an interchangeable word for this, I would say this is the motherboard. Okay, this that's what it is. You don't want to understand it. That's your business, bro. Okay. Yeah, some more elements. We got water. Okay. So the interesting thing about water is able to shapeshift, and because it has this ability to shapeshift, you can actually program water, okay, to tell your brain to do things like you can actually time travel, guys. I know this shit sounds crazy, but there is actual scientists documented. Okay, they have documentation of this shit. You can even go to these places where these scientists and Nazis and all of these people that were working with Hitler and that, they were experimenting with time, and they were experimenting with how to bend time and how to manipulate time. And this is why when you have an element like water, you're able to even do something like that, just based on this though. Okay, okay, okay. This is something even higher as well. So This one, it speaks to uh, your mortality. It also speaks on death. Because our definition of death, and our understanding of death, is slightly warped and is slightly distorted, because we've been indoctrinated to think that, death is something to cry about. But in other spiritualities, they actually celebrate death, because that's a person going to their higher self. Okay, that's what's going on here, guys. Okay, let me go to the Bible. Yeah, let's go to this Bible, guys. Look at this stuff. You know, some of you niggas love the Bible too much, so we're gonna have to go into the Bible. Okay, when you go to the Bible, yeah, what you're gonna see, you're gonna get Moses. This is Moses, guys. This is an illustration of Moses, and Moses is holding a staff, okay, a staff, yeah, and this staff had powers to part the seas, the Red Sea, so that the Egyptians, so the Hebrew Israelites could cross the Red Sea, and so they won't be killed by Egyptians. Apparently, that's the story. But these kind of stories, they're kind of remixed, and they kind of like taken from different parts and different methodologies and mythologies. Okay, so when you start to look at African culture, you get the same symbols, which have the same effects and powers, which shows you that this story of Moses was borrowed as well. When we get today, the most advanced one is this ancient Atlantis, um, this sort of Zeus like staff. Okay, so like I was telling you, like in order for you to access, just to interface with your advanced brain, you gotta have things like this, because this speaks to the power that's inside of you. The same way it spoke to Moses, okay, and gave Moses power. So they just remixed it and say because God gave him. It's just stupid shit they be writing in the Bible. Bible is just foolishness, guys. Just silly shit. But really and truly, what they're talking about is the ability to do this, okay, access this power. And as you can see from Africa, this stuff was borrowed from that. And today we have the newer version of it, which is a Greek Roman version of it, which is this. Okay, but as you can tell, you know where this is coming from. Okay, this is the elements. This is the symbol of it. So these are the things that your brain is supposed to understand, and your brain can only understand this stuff because this stuff is higher than a 2D language. So English is like a 2D language, right? So that means it's like a low dense language which your brain has no idea what you're talking about. But when you start to use when you turn those 2D languages into these higher 3D, third dimensional symbols, what happens is your brain will start to actually understand the shit. But in order for it to even understand this, okay, you gotta go back to this and explain it. It's gotta be coupled with these things, with these elements, okay? So it'll be symbols plus the elements, and you'll be able to make the jump, and you'll be able to get to your subconscious brain, really. So this is the motherboard. This will be the motherboard, guys, okay? And on this motherboard, you're able to take all these elements, okay, and program them on this motherboard, and they will create a reality based on this, okay. If we used to go to, if you go back to ancient Egypt, you see how they have this stuff, okay, how they have these symbols. And if we even go back to Moses, they try to downplay it. They try to make it, so you won't really see it. But really and truly, when you go back to Moses, he has this stuff, okay. And another symbol that was used by Moses is this one. Okay, you see this? Which is another symbol that Moses he was given apparently in the Bible. This is what the Bible says. Apparently in the Bible, God told Moses to put a snake on his tree, yeah. And when the people looked at this staff, yeah, they were healed because they had been bitten by snakes. So you see how childish and cartoonish the Bible is, but really and truly, what they were trying to explain or trying to illustrate on a generic level is basically this, the science of this. And today, if you was to go to the hospital, they have this symbol as a health symbol, and they got that story directly from Moses. Okay, yeah, that's coming from Moses, guys. Don't try to run away from it and try to say Christianity this. They got that stuff from Moses. That's where they got this symbol from. And this symbol also had the double meaning because in those same kind of verses they basically say that, yeah, as Christ was raised on the cross, so Moses raised the snake on the cross, which makes Jesus and the serpent the same people, which makes Jesus and Satan the same people too. Jesus and Lucifer, they're actually the same people according to the Bible and according to this context, okay, of this story, because in that same verse they actually tell you as Christ was raised on the cross, so the snake shall be raised on the cross, and this snake, when people look at it and when they look at this stuff, they're going to be healed. And the same story goes back to Jesus Christ when they say Jesus died for the sins of the whole world and that he healed the world. That's basically what they're saying. But that's still generic still. But, you know, we're going to get into... Okay, so what's happening here? When we go back to the mythologies and the stories which came before your Jesus stuff and before the religions that we have today, there was ancient civilizations like ancient Atlantis, and we had the Egyptian periods, we had the, you know, golden age, and we had all of these kind of different times. But the one that's the furthest is Atlantis. So when you study Lovecraft philosophy, Lovecraft books, in those books he touches on these titans, okay. And if you want to contextualize that, titans is to do with the Greek gods, how Zeus defeated the titans and took the titans and put them inside of their skin, creating human beings and putting human beings in a prison or a prism of light, okay. This is what the story is about. So the fight is against Zeus, okay, and the titans, okay. And Cthulhu is a mythological creature which was based on the understanding of primordial force or primordial energy. So if you was to study chaos or to study the beginning, Genesis, which is like the genes of Isis, and when you have to study like the origin and the inception of these things, what you're gonna find is, yeah, in the beginning there was never God. In the beginning there was actually chaos, okay, and this chaos was like a primordial force, and from that it evolved and metamorphosized into what we get today as different titans, okay. But in order for the titans to be born, they were born out of chaos and a mixture of Gaia, which is the sky, a mixture of, you know, things like that. And from that, it metamorphosized and evolved into what we call the children of the Titans, which are Zeus, okay, people like Zeus. So Zeus actually, if you was to go to the Middle East and study ancient Sumerian tablets, like the Emerald tablets, the Dead Sea Scrolls, you know, tablets like that, what you're gonna gain, yeah, or what you're gonna have an understanding of, you're gonna comprehend that Zeus It's the same Anunnaki. Okay, it's the same as the Sumerian gods, which is the Anunnaki. That's basically what it is. But it's when it's translated in different like periods and different places. By the time you go to Rome, it's a remix. Okay, or by the time you go to India, they got their own version of it. They're saying, "Oh, this is Shiva. This is whatever." By the time you go to Africa, they got other words. They'll say, "Oh, Shosi," or Yoruba, different. They just use like these different names, but really and truly, the mythology is the same. Like the story is still, coherent, and it's still the same story. Okay, let's kind of look at this. So the battle is between the old gods and the new gods. And the new gods are the gods that are running this whole universe at the moment, which is Nimrod, Enki, Enlil, Inyanya. Who else is running this stuff? Zeus. Um, Basically, like this, it's all of these kind of beings, yeah, which they distill this information and say it's the Anunnaki, which is like a whole system, and it's a government and sovereignty and a principle which is based in higher dimensions. So what they did is they cast these old gods, which is illustrated by Lovecraft. Like this, do you see this being here? It's like 40,000. I mean, 40 to 50 feet tall. Yeah, that's how big these beings are. And every time these beings are depicted in different books and films and illustrations, they're always like they're always looked at as something to be feared, because that's how powerful this force is. This is a very raw power. Okay, this is what they call chaos in science and in the metaphysical, and they also call it the primordial force or the primal force, the primitive force. This is what's going on now. So what you're gonna see is you're gonna start to see that these forces, yeah, were put in chains by Zeus. Okay, because Zeus is the one that's behind all this stuff. Um, Zeus, because you can choose to say Zeus or you can choose to say the Anunnakis. It's all the same people, really. That's what's going on. Same people. It's the same people, guys. Okay. Okay, we're gonna come back to that. Yeah. So this was happening. Yeah. This is basically um, this is the soul, or this is the Titans in a state of bondage, or a state of being in the prison. What's happening is these forces here. Okay, you see this one. It's got chains around it. Okay, so they're basically telling you that Zeus took his lightning bolt. Okay, this is the mythology. If you want to get angry, you can get angry at the mythology. Don't get angry at me, guys. But this is what the mythology says. Okay, so Zeus. Let's look at Zeus, guys. This is Zeus. Okay, and as you see, Zeus is holding a symbol of the lightning, which they call the lightning bolt. Okay, Zeus took this lightning bolt. Okay, and he trapped these beings. Yeah, inside of um, inside of beings that are on this planet. So what he basically done, yeah, he struck this whole being was struck with lightning, putting it in bondage, and that's the symbol they're showing here. Okay, and when he struck them down, they turned into ashes. Okay, and these ashes, it was like a very dark, charcoal looking material. That's what Zeus used to create human beings. And this is where they get the story of Superman from. Okay? This is an actual thing that took place. And this is the same story that you get from X-Men, Superman, every single superhero film. They're actually illustrating this happening. So they took they took the soot. That's what they call it in Egypt. They call it soot, okay, which is a dark substance that we know as 666, 6 electrons, 6 protons, and all of that carbon. Okay, it turns into carbon 7 if you was to go to your periodical tables. That would be the formula of it. So they took that substance, which was like jet black substance, and they created Africans with it. Okay, this is where you get your. In the beginning, they created Africans, and from the Africans, they mixed the DNA with different animals, yeah, to create variations of races, and that's how different races were created. Okay, so the beings that were created from this soot, okay, this is what people are calling carbon these days, and calling it melanin, whatever they're calling it. This soot, yeah, it's actually the primordial force or the primordial substance of these beings called the Titans. And today, your stupid ass is walking around thinking you're a human being, but really and truly, if you understand this mythology, you would understand that this substance, yeah, is coming from galaxies beyond this planet, which means it's mixed up with elements of the stars, elements of space. And when we say elements of space, we mean things like galaxies, black holes, stardust, different planetary rocks. It's all mixed up in the DNA. So what it means is you will be able to mutate from this one shape and shapeshift and metamorphosize your DNA to shapeshift into a higher being, which will be so advanced than any technology in the universe. That's what it means. And that means when you're able to do this, the power that you will have is higher than God, higher than Jesus, higher than Zeus, higher than angels and forces and whatnot. But let's not forget though that when the Titans were created, there were also things that were created which looked abnormal. Or if we used to see these kind of things today, we would say this stuff is abnormal. Okay, so other things that were created out of this, this is the same thing that scientists will be when they're talking about the Big Bang theory. That's basically what it is. So today they have a thing called a CERN collider. Okay, this CERN collider system. What it does, it splits an atom, and they're able to see what's the beginning of time or the beginning of creation. That's basically what they're trying to do. They even call this thing Alice and Wonderland and all this stupid shit, because they're trying to go down the rabbit hole, or they're trying to open portals into higher dimensions so they can let in creatures and entities, so they can be able to have advanced technology. That's basically what they're trying to do. But all this stuff is in the sitting in the Bible. So when you go to your Bible, yeah, where you're gonna start understanding the Hebrews, they had this thing which they call the Tetragrammaton. Okay, and this was given to King Solomon by God, and God actually gave him these seals and keys to be able to open portals and allow him to use creatures to build temples. That's what happened. And by the time this stuff involves whatever, or even way before that time, there was also Africans using these sigils to do the exact thing that King Solomon was doing. They was doing the exact thing that these Hebrew Israelites were doing. That's what they were doing. But the thing is, when you go back to Hebrews, yeah, they have this. You see this? This is what they call the Tetragrammaton. It's got stars. It's got a pentagon. and it's got all of these symbols inside of it. This is where the computer was built from, because the computer was built from this. Okay, every single computer that you have, it was built from this. Okay, and later on we see this illustrated today in films like Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange is using a tetragrammaton, as you can see here. This is what, we start to get into Megatron, tetragrammaton, Necronomicon. What else? These are kind of like words and stuff, and you start to get into the Transformers. This is how the Transformers film was created. It was created out of this, okay, this mythology, and what's happening, okay. So, but this is what Solomon actually did. So, Solomon was given the keys, and these keys unlocked, and these creatures, okay, were able to come out of these portals, and he was able to domesticate them and give them the command to build to build temples for God. That's how the temples was built. Same shit that Noah was doing, same shit that Enoch was doing, it's the same shit that Ezekiel was doing. Every single prophet in the Bible, this is what they were doing. But what they do is they use generic terms, so you don't really get it. You don't really get what they're saying. But really and truly, this is what's taking place. This is your Bibles, but that's also mixed with this mythology, and it's also mixed with the story of Thor. Okay, Thor's got the hammer, and you see that's a symbol. So how is this any different from what Moses did? This is Moses. Okay, this can be Moses, and Thor's got this. Okay, and it's lightning and whatnot. That's the same thing. And when you go to Egypt, you see Anubis is using this. He's got the same staff and the same symbol. How was this any different from what Moses was doing? Same thing. Okay? So, when you go to the pharaohs in Egypt, all of them, they have these staffs, okay? Symbols. And these are the staffs that the people that were writing the Bible, they were taking this stuff and plagiarizing it and putting it in the Bible and making it seem like it's, oh yeah, the Bible made this stuff up. So how can this civilization had this stuff like way before Jesus came here, way before Jesus' time, but they were already having this? Okay, you see it? You don't see it. I don't think you get it, but that's your business. Okay. So when we get to here, so what's happening here? There was an element of dark, an element of light, an element of duality that has to take place. And what this gives you, it allows you to have this equilibrium, a balance of these both elements, where you could be either more dark or light, and you have these polarities within yourself. And you see here Zeus, he even has this, and it's got lightning on it, the same way this one, it's got these kind of powers and whatever. So these powers that you're seeing, they exist, okay, and they're primordial forces and primordial powers, okay. That's basically what it means. And this stuff goes back to the Greek mythology, and it goes back to the mythology dealing with the Titans and stuff like that. And if we look at these imagery, okay, one of your two most powerful elements, which is within yourself, this is the most powerful element within Melanites and soul beings. Basically, you have the ability to activate fire, yeah, without candles and matchsticks and whatever. And this fire comes from within your heart, okay. And this fire is also associated with the fire which is in the spine, or the what do you call it, your nervous system. So in your nervous system, you can activate this fire which illuminates your thoughts and your heart intelligence, your brain intelligence, and your intuitive intelligence, your solar plexus or intelligence too. But this is all technology which is within the body that people don't really know. I don't think they know this. They just know it from a generic term. And another thing you will be able to create is storms and lightning. You're able to create lightning if you have. I will show you how to do it. You want to see it? You want to see how a human being is able to make lightning? I'll show you how to do it. Okay. So if you today say to yourself you want to make lightning, I'm gonna show you how to do it because this can be done right now, just based on your DNA. So what happens here? What you're gonna have to do, like Zeus. Okay, we're gonna go back to Zeus. Let's look at Zeus, guys. Zeus. Okay, if you wanted to create lightning, what you have to do is you have to make a symbol like this. Okay, which is like a lightning bolt, which Zeus has. Yeah, you see Zeus. You see Zeus. He's got this as well. He's got a staff, and this staff has lightning as well. Okay, and when we go to these other symbols, well, you see this staff. Yeah. So, in order for this thing to create lightning, you will take this symbol, okay, and you have to put it in the motherboard, and the motherboard is this. Let me show you. It's this. So you have to put it on this thing, yeah. This is the motherboard, okay. And in order for this motherboard to activate this symbol, yeah, to create lightning, you have to go to the elements, okay. So what you want to do is you want to look for elements which associate with lightning, okay. So what you want to do is you want to take all these elements. I'm not saying these ones do that. This is for something else, because the thing is, yeah, but this one speaks to Mars. This one speaks to the stars. This one speaks to the ground, Earth, and this one speaks to the ground and Earth as well. But the thing is, if you was to make lightning, what you would do is you would use the same formula, okay, but you have to create your own formula based on your own inventiveness of the brain. So what you have to do, yeah, you have to look at things like silver. Silver speaks to Mercury, and Mercury speaks to planets. And you have to look at things of silver. Can also be reflection. It can also be strong, like Mercury. Mercury is found in the seas and whatever. So you can actually create, yeah, just based on just this stuff alone, you can create either fire, okay, or you can create snow. If you want this planet to snow today, you can do it. You can really do it if you're really powerful enough. You'll be able to do it, okay. So that's how you're able to create storms, yeah. So when you see the X-Men, they tell you that this is Storm because she creates storms, okay. Basically what they're saying is this being has the ability to interface, okay, with elements like fires, elements, and using the symbols like staffs, okay. And like Thor here, Thor has lightning, which means he has the ability to access lightning, okay. And in order for him to do so, he had to build a symbol, which is this hammer here. And when you go to Moses, Moses had to have this staff to get this power, okay. When you go into African mythology, this one represents Pisces, and also had to have this thing, okay, to be able to access that power. The same with this. But in order for that to happen, you must have symbols and keys written in the motherboard, and you must also couple that with let's go to it, with elements, okay. These are the elements, and you will be able to create lightning or snow. You'll be able to make the whole planet. I'm not even joking, guys. This is real stuff. Okay, you ask for technology, I'm giving it to you. Okay, this is what you asked for. So that's what I'm gonna have to give you. I'm gonna give you these keys. So basically, um, um, other things you gotta have is you gotta have this is an activator. That's what it. That's what this is. This is what activates the programs that you put in the computer and the intentions that you put on your computer, and it puts everything into the ether. That's what basically what it is. The ether is basically a power which allows you to create anything in the world, anything in the universe. That's basically what the ether is. It's a power that you can create anything just based on your imagination alone. Okay, that's what it means. But in order for the ether to even get this, you must have an element of fire. Okay, and it must this fire will metamorphosize into the smoke, and the smoke is what goes into the ether. The same way when somebody dies, you have their ashes and you throw their ashes in the sea. Okay, so what you're doing is the same thing, really, and you're speaking to higher realms just based on this program that you created with an intention with it. Okay, that's basically what that means. And if we wish to go and study this meaning, you're gonna hear what they're gonna say here. What are the benefits of burning sage? Benefits of burning this are believed to include, okay, removing bacteria from the air. That's just daily shit. Repelling insects. That's daily shit. Improving intuition. See this? This is the shit you didn't read. You didn't read or study this. So this is one of the benefits that this has. So this element alone has the ability to improve intuition. That's what it says on here. And here they even say purifying specific objects. So in order for you to activate these symbols and objects, you must have an understanding that this element allows you to purify specific objects, and it also allows you to improve your intuitiveness, which what this is another intelligence, but this is in your heart though. This, in order for you to be intuitive, it's got to do with your heart and also your gut as well. And when we're talking about the gut, so we gotta talk about cleansing, and when you cleanse your gut, where all things like parasites and worms and whatever, that's where all that stuff lives in. In order for you to have an intuition, you must cleanse your temple. Okay, you must purify specific objects. And another thing, what it does, it says it improves mood and reduces stress and anxiety. That's what they're saying here. This, I didn't write this shit, guys. This shit is written in stone. Okay. Another element which you gotta study. Okay. This is the lotus. So this aids sleep. Okay. And when we're talking about sleep, I know we're talking about the 3 different levels of sleep as well. That is also into it. And anxiety. Okay, well, it has also been described as a mild stimulant. Okay, so if it's a stimulant, that means it's an activator. Okay, it activates a specific part of your being. Okay, so what I told you is you take these elements and you burn them, and they go into the ether. Okay, and when it does that, it activates part of your brain. But in order for it to speak to your brain, you must have things or symbols on the motherboard, which is this. This is the motherboard. This is the computer system. Okay, and if you take this computer system and all these symbols and you activate them with these different elements that I just showed you, even elements like this, even elements like this, elements like this, elements like this. Okay, and when we go to read this stuff, okay, it can be as a CES structures or instance or whatever. It is not controlled. It is not a controlled substance, but it is not approved for human consumption in the United States. Oh, who gives a fuck, bro? So it's a stimulant, which means it's an activator. Okay, or it's the thing is, yeah, these things are like sensors, innit? Sensors or sensor, yeah. So in order for it to sense this or to sense this program, you must have these elements. But the elements, they do different things, but based on what where they're coming from, and based on their colors, based on planets, based on time, based on frequencies, based on all of these kind of things. Yeah, even like um, different colors that resonate with the sun, because the sun has different colors, which they call the rays of creation, which is inside of the sun. That's what's speaking to these things. Okay, that's what's going on here. Well, yeah, and that's why when you go to India, you see people doing stuff like this. These are like the Buddhas and the Brahmas and whatever you want to call these niggas. But at the end of the day, that's the same practice when they're taking this, because this is what speaks to the brain. The brain doesn't understand all the shit you niggas be talking about. It only understands this stuff when it's coupled with a high vibration language, and is coupled by elements like this and elements like this. Okay, fire, incense. Even when you go to the Catholic Church, you see they do the same thing. And when you go to practices in like Africa and Cuba and Latin people, like Mexicans and stuff like that, they do the same thing as this, because they're speaking to a higher part of the brain. And in Africa, they had these symbols because they speak to a higher part of the brain. This is what your brain understands. Your brain don't understand 1 + 1 = 2. You don't understand that. So you see this, and when you go to the Bible, you get Solomon using this, and when you go to the Jews, the Hebrews, they're using this. This is the same shit that Enoch was using as well. And this was in Africa, and later on we see this spilling into contemporary context, where Doctor Strange explores this thing, and that's what they were showing in that film. And portals, you're able to take these entities and beings and domesticate them so they can do what you want, because that's what Solomon did. Solomon opened portals with a sigil, and he was able to take these entities and domesticate them and tell them to make temples. That's how the temples was built, guys. You don't want to believe it? Go read your Bible, guys. Okay, so you need these symbols as well, staffs, and this is the same shit that Moses has. This is the story of it. Titans. Some of the stories that are being explored today or illustrated the same subject today. Okay, you see it? You see it? Okay. So this is the motherboard, and in order for you to know how this motherboard works, these are some of the elements that it works with. Okay, and that's how you access a technology which is 500 million to a trillion ancient technology, which is this advanced. Okay, your PS5 is not fucking with this, guys. Okay, your fucking Teslas, it's not fucking with this kind of shit, bro. Okay, this is more advanced than all of that shit. Okay, that's just how it is. And if you don't understand it, when you go to the Dogon tribes, scientists were baffled how the Dogons were able to see stars with no telescopes. That's because the technology is inside of them. That's how they're able to map out all these stars, constellations, and even see like different planets that the telescopes couldn't even see at the time, because the stuff was just so behind. Okay, but the Dogon tribe, they're walking around with no shoes on their feet and are able to map out all these constellations, okay, while they're living in mud huts. That's what's going on, because all the technology is actually within you, okay? And the computers that are being built today, the original computer was actually built from this, okay, from the blueprint of this. So this is the original computer system, and I don't think there's one person on the planet that's ever said this is a computer system. I don't think anyone has ever touched on this in any lecture. I ain't seen no lecture people saying this. So I'll be the first person to say this. This is a computer system, and it works with these elements, okay? And you're able to program it, okay, to create something like this, and based on what sort of intentions and symbols, okay, that you program and write a program in the computer system, you're able to program this or this or this, and you're able to free your being from this and this, and you're able to harness this power in objects like this, the same way Moses was able to harness this power in this stick, okay? It's the same thing that we find in Aquaman, and we also find this shit in African mythology. And if you go to the Greek gods mythology, you will find this as well. And if you go to the Sumerians, Sumerian tablets, Babylonia, and Dead Sea Scrolls, Emerald tablets, you'll be able to see the same shit too. You see where it's taken from, and today this is a contemporary version of it, okay, contemporary context of this. In order for you to activate or amplify, yeah, amplify I think is a much better word. In order for you to amplify your program, you must have elements of this and this and this, or else your computer won't understand what the hell you're talking about. This is like computer programming. That's basically what it is. So you'll be able to create storms, and you'll be able to create fire, okay, like real fire. And I'll even add this here. The Egyptians, when they had lights, the lights were not built from like matchsticks and all of this shit. This light actually came from inside of themselves, and they used that light to light up the whole pyramids. That's what it was doing. You don't believe it? Go and read about it, guys. Okay, that's what's going on here. So the battle is against is between Zeus, okay, and we can even turn around Zeus and say Zeus is the Anunnaki today, and Zeus is Jesus of today. Because if you take Jupiter and you couple it with Jupiter and Zeus, you get Jesus or Jesus, and this is where you get your Jesus from, okay? And so Jesus is against the Titans, which is the soul beings, and Jesus is against the beings that he cast down and put them in a trap called the skin. Today, later on translated as sin, okay? It's not really sin, it's actually skin, okay? And this is what happens when this is activated. You become killing machines, able to create lightning, firing balls, beaming shit, straight up real shit, guys. This is straight up kick ass shit, okay? And we even read about this, and this thing has told you the improved intuition. So you can only imagine, if you never knew this and you go and study all the other elements, they're going to tell you that they activate other parts as well. And when we say activate, we're talking about the 72 to 90, I'll say about 96 senses inside of your brain. So you see how we have touch, smell, what is it? Feel, sight. All of these are senses, right? But really and truly, all of these they're intelligence. Okay, so you have about six to seven. Six is pushing it really, but when you activate your junk DNA, you're gonna have 96 more senses, which means when that happens, it's game over. That's what it means. Okay, World War III is on the way, guys. If you don't believe me, go and read. Okay. Um, this is the aid. This is the stimulant as well. So this tells us that these elements amplify the programs that we put on this motherboard here. You see it? This is the motherboard, guys. So right now, what you want to do, just like how you would build a Lego house or go build when you was younger, you used to build different things. When you used to build things when you was younger, or trains or whatever. Now you're gonna have to go and build this computer system. The same way, if you was to go and say, I want to make my own computer for like a gaming computer, you would need elements to create that computer system, wouldn't you? So this is the same thing you have to do, because this is the only thing in the universe, yeah, that speaks to your unconscious brain, okay, and your higher conscious brain. This is the only thing that will enable you, yeah, to program your brain, okay, whatever intentions you have and whatever what is it? Yeah, intentions and commands and whatever you want to program in your computer. That's up to you guys. But really and truly, this is the computer system. So the motherboard is this, and in order for you to activate this motherboard, you must have amplifiers, 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 amplifiers. Okay, you see this? Okay, and not just amplifying, it's also speaking to this is the earth tone. Okay, so this is it's earth, and it also represents sweet and savory, and it also represents an amplifier. So whatever program you have, this will amplify it. And when you have this, because it's red, this can also represent Mars. This can also represent planets beyond this Earth. And when you have this can represent the stars and also represents the sea and stuff like that. Same with this, okay, and this too, okay, elements and levels of the brain, and this and this and this and this, and that's how you're supposed to do it. So you will need to create some of these symbols, okay. This is for the computer system. This is a computer system, guys. That's what this is, okay, which is this, okay. You can even create this, but you want to try to create something new, not something that was used back in the days. This will be created just based on what you create in yourself, okay. You understand what's going on? Niggas don't get it, okay. This is no difference from what Moses was doing. This is no difference from the story of Zeus, and this is no different from this story of this being from Africa. That's what they believe in mythology. And you notice this being is half man and half fish. Okay, this is where you get your stories of the mermaids. So this stuff sounds crazy, guys. It sounds ridiculous. Okay, but mermaids were created from chaos. So what you don't understand is when God was created, okay, the Titans were created. So in the beginning there was chaos, and from chaos, primordial forces was created, and from the primordial forces that metamorphosized into the Titans. Okay, after the Titans, that's where you get your Greek gods. But when that was happening, other beings came from this as well. So you would get your Godzillas, you would get your dragons, you would get your mermaids, you would get all of these creatures that people say is mythological. This stuff is not mythological, guys. Okay, there's no such thing. They just try to cover it up because they don't want people to know this. Okay, so this is what's going on, and this is the power. This is the power. This is a computer system, and I will say this: if you don't have this computer system, okay, this computer system, you won't be able to speak to your brain, not even once. Okay, and if you don't understand that these symbols, yeah, okay, these programs, okay, they need to be activated with elements, okay, and you will use fire to do that because fire is one of the most powerful forces, and you can even use well, yeah, love as well. But this can represent love as well. But you see, this is how powerful this stuff is. So this will amplify it, and the act of burning things, yeah, or burning elements, yeah, what it does is it takes the program, okay, and makes it disappear from the third dimension, okay, and it will go into the ether, and in the ether is where you're able to create something which is from fourth dimension, fifth dimension, sixth dimension, eighth dimension, and it will jump all the way to universe B, and you're able to take that creation through the laws and principles of this universe, okay. The same way you got the laws of gravity, you have the laws, okay, of the universe. You have there's different laws and different principles and statutes which govern this whole simulation, okay, or whatever you want to call it, the matrix, whatever you pick a word, okay. So, in order for you to take these programs, okay, and speak to the ether, you have to use these elements, and you have to burn these elements into the ether, and in the ether it will buffer back, and it will create these experiences and realities where you either have an experience where one day you wake up and your eyes will make a small lightning because you won't even know that you had this power inside of you, or you wake up one day and you look in the mirror and you see your eyes will have fire in them, and you'll be thinking, what's going on? Because this stuff is absolutely fire. This stuff is straight up kick ass shit. Okay, that's the level. No one has this information at all, you know, because you gotta dedicate yourself to even get this. Here, you see this? You see these symbols? You see these are programs, guys. So from today, with these keys and this basic foundation, you will become a computer scientist. Okay? So you're gonna become a scientist. That's what it means. And in order for you to do so, you gotta use all these elements here. So this technology is 500 billion to 1 trillion ancient technology advanced than any technology in the universe. So in part 2, I'm going to speak about Halo technology, which is the technology that's going to come. But I don't think it will come now because people are not ready for this shit. Like, you know, we're still using PS5s and Apple fucking watches. That's what they call technology in this world. But it's just silly. This is more advanced, but we're going to talk about Halo technology next, and that will be the part 2 for this. You gotta slow this shit down for you. So, but just watch this.
If they're in deep trouble or just suddenly leave them, they'd call him and it'd be there. And also, he in his heart, you know, people say you're in their heart. He said that to Ram and his wife.
You see, this person is even learning the intelligence which is within your heart. Because the thing is, most of you, like, you're attached to physical things which are outside of yourself, and you feel like those things are highly advanced, but really and truly it's the organic stuff which is much more advanced. And I did say the stuff is like 500 billion, yeah, 500 billion to a trillion years advanced than any technology in the universe. That's what's going on here. But when you start to understand that this is a computer, this is not an auto, this is an actual computer system, okay? And these children are able to interface with their DNAs and the memory banks and the conscious brain, which is outside of your brain, okay? And be able to access these Akashic records and archives, okay? Even inside of your bones, inside of your being, these different archives which are hidden in your DNA, and this is what the scientists call the junk DNA. It's not really junk because it has a purpose. And when you start to unlock your junk DNA, what you're going to start to see is there is archives inside of them which reveal a higher sense of self. So much so, yeah. Instead of like interacting or living on two strands of DNA, you're gonna start to experience about 72 to like 90 something strands of DNA, which allow you to access other parts of your brain. So when you was using 20% to 10%, 10% to 20% of your brain, what happens is you will be able to access the other 90 to 80% of your brain. And when you start to do that, what happens is you start to bend time and you start to access higher dimensions and becoming a prime creator, which changes things, because the things that you thought were not possible will be possible, because these senses will start to awaken. These parts of your brain which are dormant will actually start to activate, and your junk DNA will start to open up, and you start to read these archives and helixes and stuff like that, and you're able to basically do things that normal human beings cannot do. That's what it means. Okay, but this is just a generic version of it, or a very basic understanding of it. Okay, so let's research this shit.
And actually, what he did was he was at this prayer thing, and they gave him a present, and he ripped it open, seeing if there was Vana Sita inside the beads. Like, we wear this thing called a mara, and inside there's these rudra seeds, that stones that come from the mountains.
And they even telling you some of these elements come from the mountains, which means, yeah, this is highly advanced stuff. Okay, we're talking about things to do with like magnetism, light, okay, light technology, okay, halo technology, and this is some of the technology that was being used by the Egyptians, and the technology that was used to build some of these seven wonders buildings, which today they don't have. There is not one building on the planet that was ever built that comes close to the precision of a pyramid. Okay, today in this world, there is not one architect, okay, that can create a building that comes close to the precision of a pyramid, which shows you that the highest of the highest that we think we are, we still can't build anything that comes close to something that was built millions of thousands of years ago. We still haven't even caught up, yet these things were built long time ago. So that shows you the intelligence that's being promoted in this world is not actually advanced as they claim to be. Okay, they claim that these things are advanced, but really and truly, there is not one person on the planet that's ever created anything that's close to them. So it's just retarded shit going on in this world. That's what's happening. It's just retarded shit. Okay,
can only get them there. And so he opened his heart and showed everyone that they were actually there. So, yeah. This one is Jalaram Bappa. He's assigned to a special day, which is Thursday. Hanuman is assigned to Saturday. And this one, Shiva, is assigned to Monday. But the rest,
So you see this little kid, he's telling you about dates and stuff, and he's telling you about this is basically to do with like astrology as well, because it's connected to the dates, and some of these dates they vibrate according to certain planets and according to certain magnetic fields, and like consciousness coming in and out. The Earth supposedly be spinning. That's if the Earth is really round like some people believe. But that's all just mumbo jumbo nonsense. But we're gonna get into. You see this kid, yeah. This kid, at his age, he's already interfacing with a higher part of his mind, and this is what you find when you go to any schools. You're gonna see that these kids they have like a high IQ. Okay, especially in things like mathematics, sciences, and uh, metaphysical shit, and just things like that. You're gonna see that these people they have a very high IQ. It's because they have been taught this stuff from a young age. Okay, that's what's happening here. They've been taught this from a young age. Okay, look at this shit.
you can do every other day. But you can do the rest every other day. But I think especially to do on those days. This is made out of cotton, so it's originally, it's dry and stuff, so they make a circle and then they roll it up to the top so it's a shape like that. Then after they dip it into melted butter, which we call ghee, to use as a candle. So I'll show you.
Okay, so you see what's going on here. Okay, the best way for me to explain this shit, yeah, is basically, yeah, these people, yeah, they're looking at this stuff from a religious perspective. But the thing is, because we're studying, we're studying the codes and the programming which is behind all of this shit. What's basically happening is this is an actual organic computer, and in order for your brain to even understand this or to interface with this, there must be different elements used. Okay, things like light, fire, water, earth, all of these like elements which are organic. This is what your brain will start to interface with. So so you need elements and you need the symbols, again, and you need an intention, and you need to have your emotional intelligence, and you need to also have your different parts of the brain. So you get your reptilian brain, you get your reasoning brain, you get your conscious brain, you get your unconscious brain, and you get your pineal glands, and you get your oblongata, and you get all of these different parts, okay, and mechanisms which are within your brain, which allow you, okay, to perceive things on different levels. So you have your eyes, your two physical eyes, they perceive things on like a third dimension. Then you have your pineal gland, which kind of experiences life on like a higher frequency and higher dimensions. Okay, this what's basically happening here. You just have to kind of like read and study this. So that when they're saying this thing, when they're saying all of these kind of these everyday words, okay, what they really mean, okay, is that this is an actual computer system. That's what it means. But I don't think these children really know that this is a computer system. They just know that this is a religion that we're given. But if you used to really study it from a non-generic perspective, you would actually understand this is called programming. Okay, when you go to study computer science, this is called programming. Okay, so that's when you write a program, okay, and want it to react a certain way, or give an experience of some sort. Okay, so even the page, if you go on a Google page, or you go on a YouTube page, behind that Google page and behind all these websites, okay, there's all of these symbols and programs, which the people that program, that study computer science, they actually have to write this stuff and give the computer commands. Okay, it's the same shit that these little kids are doing now. But I don't think they understand that this is a computer system. I don't think they understand this is an ancient computer. This is ancient technology, and they don't understand how advanced this stuff is. It's like a everyday life they're experiencing, and they think this is just some religion. This is not religion. This is computer technology. This is okay. That's what's going on here. See the elements of fire. Okay, like I was saying. So if you was a computer programmer, yeah, that's what you'll be doing. But really and truly, you will be writing a program and saying light a fire, okay, and you will command your computer, whatever your page, to create whatever you want to create. This is the exact same thing, but here what's happening is they're using organic elements, okay, in order for them to program their subconscious brain, okay, to have an understanding of these different objects and different symbols, okay, because the brain, this is what people don't understand. The brain don't understand 2D language. That's why every single company in the world has a logo, okay, because the brain, the actual subconscious brain, it doesn't understand what 2D language means. This English shit that you people be talking, it's like the lowest vibrational language you can speak, yeah. But when you start to get into the like higher dimensions of language, you start to get things like hieroglyphics, where the Egyptians will write things down in symbols. It gets into like symbology and stuff, because a symbol is a third dimensional what is it? It's a third dimensional language, okay, which allows your brain to interface, and in order for it to actually connect, okay, with these different parts, you have to use elements like fire, water, earth, and all of these kind of things. That's basically what's happening here. This is not a religion, guys. This is a computer system. This is what we call computer science. Okay, this is what it is. Computer programming. That's what we call this stuff. But you have to understand, this is the organic version of it, which the computer system that we use today, it was derived from this. Okay.
And then we ring the bell to wake up God.
And you can see now he's getting into sound. Okay. So these kids, they think that these beings they're putting on here, they think this is real people. All of this shit is actually inside of you. This is an illustration of how your brain thinks on different planes, different paradigms, different waves, different brain patterns, different elements. Okay, all this shit is actually inside of you. The only difference is like these people think this is a religion. This is not a religion. This is a computer system they're interfacing with. These two kids, they're computer science, computer scientists. That's what's going on here. Okay, while you're outside thinking I'm doing this, you're not studying the science though. It's different.
And then we can, whichever prayer you want to do, like, so we can do any prayer you want. Some people just like do that.
It's not prayers. It's not prayers, guys. You know what it is? The confusion. You know what the conundrum is? The conundrum that we have today is people think this is a religion. So their understanding of this is it's like a spooked, childish, infantile, asinine brain. Okay, That's how they look at this stuff. But really and truly, if you was to go into like any university to study what this really means, they will tell you this is like programming, and they will tell you this is a science, and they will tell you why people do this. Okay, this is when you take away the generic layer and understanding of this, you start to have a much more profound understanding. Okay, it is very paramount for you guys to really get rid of your egos and get rid of your. It's like a low vibration thinking that a lot of people are on today. Okay,
Like the blessings of the like if you go to a temple when they light the arti, which you'll see this.
and you see here, you see this kid is saying temple. Okay, if you go to a dictionary, if you go to an etymology dictionary to understand these words that these people are using, and as you can understand here, like as we evolve as human beings, these words start to become a bit more interchangeable, where they could be used for different things and different meanings contextually. But what's basically happening is here, the temple is actually your brain. If you go to any dictionary, you understand that the temple is your brain. But here, this kid is telling you that they have a temple which was built in India, which they go to, which all people can go to and go and pray. But really and truly, so what he's saying is he's the actual temple. I don't think he realizes this because it's on a generic level at the moment. I don't think this kid understands this. Okay, but what's really happening is you think this is some kind of altar, you think this is some kind of shrine, you think this is some kind of temple, but it's not really a temple because the temple is your brain. Okay, so you're speaking to your brain based on this. Okay,
Today, they'll you put money in there and then just take God's blessings over your head.
see, so they start to use these generic terms, these interchangeable words like God. God can mean anything according to somebody else contextually to whatever they contextualize that as whatever. That's their understanding and that's their objective. And these kind of things are very subjective to the person and the subject and the context of whatever they're talking about. So you see where the confusion is. When people see this, they think this is some kind of. This is not a religion, guys. This is a computer system. That's what you don't really get. It's a computer system. It's artificial. I wouldn't say artificial. It's an organic, advanced technology. That's basically what it is. So when we get into elements like stardust and galaxy, and asteroids, and soil rocks, that's like getting into archaeology. So you see, like there's different methodologies that people use in this world to gain understanding. So you get archaeologists, they study the rocks and all of this shit, and you get the study of etymology, anthropology. You get the study of genealogy. What is it? Phenotypical. When you study the faces, when you study like different parts of the body, and we get into the metaphysical stuff as well. So there is different methodologies that explain the exact same thing, but just with different perspective though. Okay, that's what's happening here. You gotta understand this shit though. I don't think you really get it, but study.
Om Guru Brahma Tatsaviturvareyam Bhagavadevasubhimi Yona Pachodaya Om Guru Brahma.
So now they're getting into sound frequency, which is another sense and another element. So what you're seeing here is this shit is like bending light, guys. Okay, so they're getting into sound frequency. Okay, so just from this one thing alone, this one computer system that these people have, what's happening is these children are able to interface with the universe on a higher level than other children in the world, in the whole world, just based on them interfacing sound, understanding the different symbols, understanding the DNA can actually interface with these different parts of things, and also they're starting to activate a higher brain which is within themselves, which allows them to even use. I would say children like this, that they're probably using close to like 22. 20 is a stretch really, but they're probably using maybe 15 to like 18 percent of their brains. But as you advance and as you get older, you will be able to even get closer to like 30%. But if you understand that animals like dolphins, they are much more intelligent than human beings today, because dolphins, they have a sonar technology which allows them to use about 30% of their brains. So with this just this statement, okay, with this premise alone, this means dolphins are more intelligent than human beings. That's what it means, okay? Because they have a technology inside of them which they call sonar, which they, like when they study these things, they start to build things like submarines and technology based on what these animals do. So what this actually means is dolphins are the smartest beings or animals. I won't just say animals, I would say beings on the planet. And dolphins are smarter than human beings. That's what it means. Okay? You could take it how you want to take it, but really and truly, dolphins are smarter than human beings. That's what it means. Okay?
It mentions like different names of like different religions of God, like Allah and some other gods and stuff. So that means that all God are one, but obviously we have loads, but that doesn't mean we don't believe in other ones like Jesus or Allah or anything else. As we just think all of them are, there's only one God really. So
These are all different forms of God, because all God visits different type of.
yeah, they just come down at different times, different forms. So they all represent something. They're not the same. They all represent something unique and different.
So we see, well, okay, see, okay, it's what happens, yeah. It was where when parents pass on their religion to children, they just tell them what they was taught, what they was taught. So, but what these children don't really understand, well, they're doing it, but they're not really understanding what they're doing when they're doing it. Is they're interfacing with different parts of themselves, which goes back to saying, okay, that there is no one God. It's like it's you, and these aspects of God are aspects of yourself. So when you experience life, it's almost like you're looking at different mirrors, reflecting and projecting different aspects of yourself which you haven't even explored or had a high understanding on, just based on your experiences just down here on this planet. That's basically what it means. So these children, I don't think they know that this is a computer system, and I don't think they know that this is an ancient technology, and I also don't think, okay, they understand that this speaks to a higher parts of your brain. And if you go into psychology and you study people like Freud, they will tell you that there is a primordial or primal brain, okay, which they were saying is a primitive brain, okay, which is within every human being. And this primitive brain, Freud wrote down and said, the primitive mind is the mind of God. What that means is that is the mind which is programmed with intentions to bring about different realities. So this is why when you have adverts and stuff, you have your McDonald's bring out an advert. In that advert, you're going to see they have different colors which speak to your different parts, which are the chakra systems, and they have these symbols okay, which are third dimensional symbols, which vibrate on different frequency, which causes you to be like programmed into thinking, oh yeah, I'm not hungry, I need to go buy a burger, okay, because they're speaking to your reptilian brain, okay, and they're speaking to your third eye because they start to give you symbols, and these symbols is what your brain can understand. Your brain doesn't understand 2D language. That's basically what it means. And all this stuff is that this is high multi-dimension dimensional languages, which allows your brain to access this thinking tank. Okay, it's like a thinking tank, but it's also like a conscious brain, which is outside of your brain, which every single human being can interface based on their DNA and based on the condition of the state of their minds, and based on the frequency of their brain, because the frequency that your brain will get to, it will start to send vibrations which attract certain things which are on the same frequency, if that makes sense though. Okay, that's what this is. But we explored it. That's basically what's happening. um, there is an organic computer system, and there is a technology which is like 500 billion to like a trillion years advance than the technology which is down here on this planet. And another thing we need to get into is that in the future, okay, well, the future is now really, um, cars are going to be operated by sound, okay, because that's what's coming, and people will be able to actually communicate on a light level, which is like it's like a psychic um, waves, brain waves of information. So what this means is you can't get this shit in no books. You will have to have put yourself in a space where you allow yourself to learn this shit and understand it. Right now, I don't think people understanding this shit. They just look at these things on a very surface level, and they don't really study it, and they don't really search within themselves to have an understanding of this. Okay, this is soul being shit, guys. That's what's going on. Niggas eating mince pies, and I'm not really studying. That's what's going on here, guys. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna end it on this. Well, okay, let's get into this.